Hello and welcome. Sorry, I wasn't sure whether whether we were actually live then. Yeah, well, welcome. It's obviously we've got a really big game this evening. Massive game against Inter Milan, top team in Europe, European royalty, you might even say, like us. And I thought I would come on and see if a few people wanted to have a chat about the game. I've got a little team lineup prediction, which I'm going to do a little bit later. And basically just have a chat about the match, because why not? Dave, good to see Dave. LFC chats there. Thanks, Dave. Good to see you, mate. So basically, yeah, I've got a team lineup. I'm gonna have a little chat through that. We're gonna have a little look at Inter Milan so that you know what Inter Milan are like, form-wise, key players, that sort of thing. And just let's have a chat about the match. Dave thinks we'll win 2-1. It's probably a good estimation, that, Dave, because I've had a little look at the stats, and Inter Milan a good side, very good side. So get your comments in if you're watching. Get your comments in, and let's discuss this massive game that we've got this evening. Just have a little chat first of all about the Burnley game. Obviously, different type of game. Jurgen in his press conference. If you haven't seen the press conference from yesterday, I did my usual 60-second video where I discussed the press conference and basically picked the bones out of it in 60 seconds so that you don't have to watch the full 10-minute version. And one of the things that Jurgen said, which I found quite funny, was we played Burnley on Sunday, and he said it's not going to be like Burnley tonight against Inter Milan, which I found hilarious. Yeah, of course it's not. I mean, Turf Moor's a thing on its own. You're playing in the San Siro tonight. Turf Moor is Turf Moor. And the weather was horrendous on Sunday, and they certainly won't be experiencing any of that. The interesting thing was that at that point when Trent was trying to take a corner and he couldn't because the corner flag was blowing over. So yeah, it certainly won't be the same game. I think Liverpool on Sunday's game, they did enough. It was a good professional performance, wasn't it? We started well, but then I think Burnley got a grip of us in the midfield. There was like a tight marking going on. They were closing everything down. We really couldn't get out with our from the back because the midfielders always had a man on them. So they were turning, they didn't have an option. It was a really good performance by Burnley, to be honest with you. You have to give credit to the opposition sometimes, and that's just the way I saw it. I think the game turned. Well, Leo, let's have a chat about their chances, because Sean Dyche in his interview after the game in the press conference was basically bigging Burnley up and saying that Burnley played really well. They created a lot of chances against a top team, and of course that's going to be his narrative, and I get that, and he has to say that, and he has to basically they did create chances if the offside rule doesn't exist at all in reality, but we play a high line. We got our offside line perfect in that game. We caught them offside many times. There we go, Dave agreeing with me. We caught them offside many times, and that's what the team's designed to do. That's the whole point of it. So, I haven't seen much of the day because people have warned me off watching it because I think I'd just get really angry. But apparently they were using the chances that Burnley had, which would have been offside, as examples of Liverpool's high line not working, which is just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, Liverpool played well, or they played professionally on Sunday, I would say. We got the goal. All right, it wasn't one of our best games. It wasn't free-flowing. The turning point, I thought, was Thiago coming on. Not only in the team's demeanour, he calmed us down, but also we kept the ball well. We moved it better. And I think if you watch that game back through the eyes of, I know the result already and I'm not on the edge of my seat thinking that we're going to get beat, you probably watch that last 20 minutes and think, to be honest with you, we're fine here. And certainly Burnley, ran out of ideas. I think the commentator even said that they ran out of ideas at some stage. So there we go. So looking into tonight's game, I think looking at Inter Milan's form, I've had a little look into the stats because, you know, I'll be honest, I don't watch the Italian league. I don't know an awful lot about it. So it was good to have a little look, and it was very interesting because they're a really good side. Now, Jurgen Klopp made the point that they're the best side in Italy, which is interesting because they're actually second behind AC Milan, but they're only a point behind AC Milan. If I look into the stats, they've played 24. They've won 16 games. They've drawn 6, and they've lost 2. They've got a goal difference of 35, which is excellent. They've scored 55 goals and they've conceded 20. So that tells me that they're good going forward and they're tight at the back. Now, you'd expect an Italian team to be tight at the back anyway. But the fact that they can score, interesting that they've never failed to score in one game this season. Now, that tells you an awful lot. It either tells you that the other teams are rubbish, or it tells you that they're good going forward and they're very creative and they've got people that can bang the goals in. Martinez has got 11 for them. Zeko's got 10 for them. We know about Zeko because he was in our league for quite a while. He played at Man City. So it's, I think he also played at Chelsea. He was at Chelsea, then he went to Man City, and then he went to Roma. So, you know, he's still knocking about, that guy. So it's, I don't think it's going to be an easy game this year. And looking at the stats have kind of scared me a little bit. Just a big shout out, John Moore, 3-1 Liverpool win. I'll take that, John, all day. It scared me looking at her stats because we're off the back of a game against Burnley, which was tough. We weren't at our free-flowing best. Not to say that means that we won't play well tonight, but we weren't at our best. And Inter Milan, you know, they're a good side. Looking at their form, in the last 6 games, they've won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1. Now, the one that they lost was 2 games ago against AC Milan, and they got beat 2-1. So they've scored. In the last 3 games, they've had in the last 4 games, they've had 2 draws, a defeat, and 1 win. So you could say that the last 3 or 4 games have been a bit patchy. So that gives you a little bit of heart, actually. Obviously, AC Milan are leading at the moment, and that win that they got 2 games ago would have took them above Inter Milan. So that's sort of interesting to look at. Another stat that I saw was that 20% of their goals come in the last 10 minutes of games. So they obviously finished strongly. There's probably I would assume from that there's not going to be a gulf in fitness. They're going to be a fit side. They're going to be able to get up and down all the way through the game. So that's something we need to be mindful of. Jurgen yesterday in his press conference said that they never go to an away leg because he was asked about. And if you haven't seen the press conference, go and check out my little 60-second thing because all the interesting information is there and it's condensed for you. One of the things he was talking about, they asked him about the away goal rule not being a thing anymore. And was he bothered? And he said he actually liked the away goal rule when it was a thing. But he said they've never gone to a game away in Europe thinking about the fact that it's a game away in Europe and they've got 2 legs. They've never prepared a team in order to, you know, it's the old adage, and I think, you know, Liverpool teams did it in the past. We went over, we play, sometimes we play with 4-5-1 and we go over, try and nick a goal, keep it tight, get them back to Anfield. You know, that's the old adage. But Jurgen said that they've never ever done that. They go and play the game. And if you look at the teams that he picked, I don't remember him ever picking a team differently away in Europe. You know, I know Alex Ferguson used to do it. They play a striker up with Scholes in behind and then 2 flat forwards. So it is something that maybe was a thing, but our manager doesn't seem to want to do that. And he believes in our team, the way we play, and he believes we can go and beat anyone. And he was very clear yesterday in saying that we don't go away in Europe looking to play the game in terms of the context of the game or the tie or the round. We just go and prepare a team ready to beat someone. And I thought that was brilliant. So we're going to go again and play our normal game, 4-3-3. We're going to play the players that he thinks will fit that tie, but it will be the Liverpool team that we all know and love. Just going back to Inter Milan, I said their top scorer was Martinez, has got 11, Zeko's got 10. Hakan is their top assist merchant. He's got 8. Barella has got 7. Looking at the team news for them, and obviously our team news is amazing. Everyone's fit. It's like we've just got an embarrassment of riches, which is absolutely incredible. And we'll come to that in a minute when we go through the little team lineup prediction that I've got lined up. But they have got Robin Gosens and Joaquin Carrera are both injury doubts for Inter. And Nicolo Barella is suspended because he was sent off in the last game against Real Madrid. So Barella's a key player for them. He was very, very good in the World Cup, if I remember rightly. And I've got a feeling that we were linked with him in the summer, funnily enough. But so that's their injury news. Other than that, I'm guessing they've got a fully fit squad. So, they'll be pretty strong. Looking at, I was just having a little look to see what their predicted lineup was. And excuse me for some of these pronunciations. They might be a bit weird. But I think it was The Guardian has gone for Handanovic, Skriniar, Devray, D'Ambrosio, Dumfries, Vidal, Brozanovic, Hakan, Perisic, Dzeko, and Martinez. If you look at the bookies, they have Inter Milan at 12-5, a draw 13-5, and Liverpool 11-10. So we're the favourites, which I'm guessing you would expect. But there's some really good players looking in that team. Players who've played, who I'm guessing have won the World Cup and played, big matches. So, they're a dangerous team. They're a really dangerous team. So, listen, just before I do the team lineup, because I'm not going to stay on too long, just don't forget to get your comments in. If you've got a team lineup, let me know what you think. Do you think there's some question marks for us? Do you think Jota will play? Do you think he'll play Diaz? That's the other thing. Will Sadio play? Will he play Diaz? Will he play Jota? Will he play Firmino? I'm assuming Mo Salah will play. And then looking into midfield, what do you think will happen there? Will he bring Elliott in? Will Jones play? Will Naby Keita play? It's, Henderson had a little knock. Will he be out? Jurgen in his press conference said he was fit, so that's fine. So, get me in the comments. Just looking at the comments, we had Jem Papisin Singson, okay, saying good evening. Well, it's midday over here, and I've not had any lunch yet, so I'm not sure where you are, but hello over there. And Dave's always in your corner. Hit the like button, and if you are watching, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and hit the follow button, because that's what we need, is more people. So I'm just going to jump straight in and have a little look at this team that I think that Jurgen will go for. So there you go. So obviously Alisson in goal, I would think. Don't see there's going to be any changes there. I would go with what I believe to be our strongest backline. They're vastly experienced. You've got Trent on the right, Joel Matip and Virgil van Dijk centre, and I would say Robertson would play on the left. They've all had a bit of a break. I know they played Sunday and it was a tough game, but I see that being the lineup. I don't think he'll want to change. It's a big game. So in the midfield, what I think he'll go for is, if you were going to start the Champions League final tomorrow, what would your midfield be? And I think this would be your Champions League final midfield if everybody was fit. Now, doesn't mean to say that's exactly what would happen, but I think we'd all agree that's our most experienced lineup. And going away to the San Siro is an ordeal. So you're going to need experienced players. And the interesting thing is we've got 5 substitutes for this game. So you can change it. So if you start with those guys, Thiago, you got Fabinho keeping it tight with Joel Matip and Van Dijk. You've got Henderson experience, playing on the right. He can whip them balls in with his right foot. I mean, you've got his passing range and everything. And then Thiago, you've got his passing range. It's pretty much a dream team. Unless you hate Henderson, which I'm sure some people still have issues with Henderson, which I don't understand. But so that would be my midfield. Now, if you feel that is not the right midfield, let me know in the comments. We've got some comments come in. Jem Papasin, by the way, Singson, thanks for subscribing. Dave, you've gone for Jota, Diaz, and Salah. Interesting, would be nice. So you wouldn't have Sadio up front. Okay. Fab, Naby, and Thiago, and usual back four. Okay. So you go for Naby ahead of Henderson, or is that because Henderson, Dave, is you think Henderson's injured? Just clarify that for me, Dave. But yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, Naby, I thought played well on Sunday. He really did. He had a good game. It was he did a lot of the ugly things that we maybe used to see Wijnaldum do. It wasn't his usual flashy self dictating play, playing passes in between the lines and finding players, who were tightly marked. There was a bit of that, but it was more workmanlike from Naby on Sunday, which I really, really liked it. Eddie Jones contributed to the show. Can't see us not scoring tonight after the game against Burnley. Surely our lads will want to get something out of the game, but not going to be easy. But it's not going to be easy for Milan. Love it. Absolutely love it. You're right. You're spot on there. And I would totally agree with you. I mean, that the stats that I've just come out with, I don't know whether you saw those, Eddie, but the stats that I've just come out with are quite stark. They're a good side at the end of the day. Second in the league, 1 point behind AC Milan, who are leading. So it's good. Steve Jones, that lineup could beat anyone, Gav. I would think so, Steve. Looking at that, you'd think fantastic. That's as strong a team as you're going to see in Europe. There's everything there. Our lads at the back, we've got arguably the best goalkeeper in the world. The lads at the back, fantastic. The wing, the fullbacks, solid midfield. I didn't get through to so I don't think there's any debate that Mo Salah's going to start, obviously. I've just seen a comment there, Dylan. Hendo not a doubt for the weekend. Jurgen said he's got a gash on his leg, but he can still play, so he's fit. If you watch my 60-second press conference video, you'll see that that's what he came out with. So yeah, just going back to it, I mean, I would play. He might play Bobby, actually. He might start Bobby. That wouldn't be beyond the realms at all, because Bobby can drop in as an extra midfielder. So he might feel that that's necessary in order for us to, just keep things compact and narrow. But Jota's in just amazing form. And I think if you're giving them that, I mean, they won't want to see Jota they won't want to see Mo Salah on the team sheet, and they won't want to see Jota on the team sheet when they look at his form. So I would play those two. And I think Sadio deserves another go, but I can see, Diaz is the shiny new thing, and we want to get him out of the box and play. But you know what Jurgen's like. He likes them to bed in, and I know he's played well, and he said that he's bedded in quite well already. But I just feel like he'll go with Sadio, and he's got those 5 subs. He can bring Diaz on, not a problem. He can change it. He can bring Elliott on into midfield. He could bring Ox on. So that's not a problem at all. Just going through some more comments. Tony K. So you've gone for Allison. So you've gone for Simicast. So you've dropped Robbo. That's really interesting. Why would you drop Robbo? Because Robbo's been fantastic. He was brilliant against Burnley. Is it a fitness thing? Is it a resting thing? That's an interesting point. That Robbo's not played. They pretty much had 3 weeks off before. Or 2 weeks off before the game. I suppose they played Leicester on Thursday. Yeah, fair enough. I get that. And then you go for Canate ahead of Matip. Okay, interesting. And then Hendo, and then you've basically gone for the same forward line. You need to rotate Robbo, Matip, and Keita and Bobby. Okay, interesting. Well, that's, there's definitely valid, and I can see what you're saying completely there. He might do a little thing at centre back. I suppose Joel's played 2 games on the bounce, so there could be a little rotation there for Canate. kind of feel sorry a bit for Joe Gomez, don't you? Because he's not really done anything wrong. He's been out for a long time with injury. You wonder whether we need to get him up to speed and bring him in. John Moore, you've gone for Kanate as well, and Robertson. And then you've gone for Naby in the midfield, and then you've gone for Diaz, Salah, and Mane. I mean, the one thing looking at these lineups is they're all incredibly strong. What a position we are in. It's amazing how strong our squad is now. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And, if you're watching this, please enjoy what's going on at the moment. Just enjoy it. We've got this incredible squad and we're watching these amazing footballers play for our team. And enjoy it as much. Football's about enjoying yourselves. It should be enjoyed, and just bask in how good this squad is. We people have put different lineups there. I've put my lineup, and there's other people put different lineups there, and they're different, but they're no less. They're no weaker than any of them. They're all really, really strong lineups, which is brilliant to see. Tony K. I would like to see Diaz get a start. He's got plenty of Champions League experience, which is a good shout. So you're not throwing him in under the water. Mane has had a lot of football, and that's a good shout as well. So, I mean, if I'd be certainly excited to see a front line of Salah, Jota, and Diaz. I mean, Christ, I'd be chomping at a bit for the game to start if that was the case. But we'll see what Jurgen does. What you think and what Jurgen does is always two different things. So, Dylan, you've said he'll be starting, so it's a strong team. So, yeah, Henderson, there was no reason in the press conference that Henderson should be left out. He said he was fit. So let's see what else. Tony K, I wouldn't be upset if VVD was rested for Joe Gomez, partner in Kanate. They need all the game time. And that's the thing that I was saying before about Joe. I mean, where do you get him game time? Obviously, we've got one game left in the Caravan. We've got the FA Cup. But you don't know what's going to happen. You might need him. So I mean, maybe the home leg for Gomez might be the thing. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. So Tony, again, thoughts on... Oh, yeah, look at this. I didn't even know I could do that. So Tony K, I wouldn't be upset. So let's get rid of that one. And then let's do your next one, Tony. So thoughts on Milner signing a 1-year extension. For me, he's on high wages, 30 to 40k a week. Don't think he deserves any more considering he's not a starter. Fair point. Absolutely fair point. I think the consensus, Tony, is that we'd like him to stay, but probably in more of a backroom staff role. You'd hate to lose him, and I'm guessing with him being so fit, he probably feels like he can play a game for another club. But you just wonder, we're limiting his game time. We've got such a strong squad. Is it fair for him to stick around? I'm sure he doesn't care. That he's as long as he's getting his game. But next season, is it going to be worse? Is he going to be even more limited? So I'm not entirely sure what happens with James Milner. Put it this way: if I woke up one morning on Twitter, James Milner has signed a 1-year contract, I would not be surprised at all, because that's the way Jurgen works. Equally, if he gets to the end of the season and he goes and he wants to play at Leeds, as most people think, that's fine as well. It's entitled to him. But I tell you what, though, what a servant he's been for us. He'd come in, not a lot of fanfare. He was a free transfer. It was kind of very canny by Brendan Rodgers to bring him in, I think. But he's been fantastic. His effect. I spoke to Kenny the other week, and he was saying that, on a podcast when we were doing the Q&A, he was saying that the effect that these experienced players have on your dressing room, people from outside who've never been in a football environment don't understand, but footballers understand. And that's why if you speak to a footballer, you speak to a fan, especially fans on social media, they're very, everything's immediate. well, he's finished, after one game. He's finished. We need to get rid of him. There's a lot of that goes on. If you speak to footballers and football people, you never, ever hear him say stuff like that because they understand dressing rooms. They understand what happens on training pitches. They understand relationships. It's not as easy to just say get rid of someone because you have a relationship with that person. As much as you have to be, ruthless as a manager or whatever, there's a person behind it. It's not just a case of you're moving, pawns around a board. There's actually people who've got families and stuff like that, and that never gets taken into account with fans. So that's something that you need to look at. Just in answer to your little comment there, Tony, Jimmy's nail, is it Jimmy's snail shoes or Jimmy's nail shoes? Confirm that for me, Jimmy. It could be either, I suppose. He's put no brainer, give Milner an extension. I wouldn't have a problem with that either. I don't feel like we need to get rid of him, and there's intangibles here that we need to look at. Tony, I love Milner, but don't think his wages are justified. Exactly. I mean, that's the other big issue, don't you think? Is he's on such a high wage, and if he's not playing, then what maybe they can negotiate something there where he gets a coach's wage, which is a lot less. Maybe he'll feel like, I mean, his agent will be speaking to other clubs, the likes of, well, he'll be looking at Leeds, he'll be looking at Brentford, he'll be looking at Norwich maybe, and they'll be saying, well, we can pay him X if he comes in here on a free, and then Liverpool will have to look at that. Can they match that to keep him on as a player coach? That's all the chats that will be going on in the background. John Moore, I'm sorry to say, but I think Joe leaves in the summer. Whoa, John, that's controversial. We'll love him to stay too, but he deserves to play top flight football. I'm guessing you mean there, John. I get that. I do get that, and I know there was rumours that he was going to go to Aston Villa in the summer. In the January transfer window. I don't know. We need 4 centre backs. If he goes, we've got to sign someone else. So there's an issue there. I'd rather keep Joe. If Joe's happy to stay, let's keep him. I wouldn't be pushing him out the door at all. But I'm guessing he's still young. It seems like he's been around forever. He's still young. He's I'm guessing he's ambitious. So if he wants to go, you've got a decision to make. But if he wants to stay, I wouldn't be pushing him out any door at all. John, not at all. Let's have a little look. So what else have we got? We've got quite a few comments to get through. Tony again, we need to be ruthless at times. Milner staying, I don't mind, but highway is just uncalled for. I just can't understand it, but Klopp wants him for another year, I trust. Have you got some inside information there, Tony? Like I said, if that happened, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Eddie Jones, the Mancs are having to pay their disgrace player 75k a week and can't play him, so Milner is worth it. Fair enough. I don't want to get into a big Mason Greenwood thing, but they've got a big problem there, haven't they? They've got a massive problem there, the Mason Greenwood. I don't even know where to begin with that because he is so valuable as a footballer to them. Not only is how he plays, but his on field. He's a very talented lad. It's a nightmare. They must be tearing their hair out. But there's really only one thing they can do, which is wait till the legal process goes through and see what happens. But if he's convicted, then they've got a big decision to make because they can't be seen to be harbouring someone who's been done for sexual assault, and that's the end of it, basically. John, yeah, I'm chatting about this before. Love Milner to become a player coach for us. What better person to have for the kids to look up to? Spot on, 100%. There's no way in training he's having anyone slacking. Not that I think our lads seem all good lads and they all train hard, but there's no slacking going on. And as an example to young players, they'll be watching him and he'll be telling them, get in the gym an hour before training, in the gym an hour after training. All that sort of stuff is how you become a better player and how you realize your dream of becoming a professional footballer. It's having examples like Milner around. You can't put a value on that sometimes. Okay, so it's Jimmy's nail shoes. It's been that long, I can't change it. You can change it. Oh no, you can't. Well, you can actually change it, but if you want, but you're keeping it anyway. Fair enough. Nice one. Dylan, a loan for Joe would be perfect. Yeah, but we need four centre backs, Dylan. So if Joe Gomez goes on loan, we need to buy someone. Unless you think Reece Williams can step in. Interesting enough, I was watching the training today, and Reece Williams is back training with us. I thought he was still at Swansea. So that's an interesting little aside. Reece played well for us back end of last season, so that could be a possibility. Tony, again, what if signing on Milner, maybe Bobby and Mane? What if signing Milner? Okay, so what if signing Milner to another contract and maybe Bobby and Mane will affect our transfer budget? Well, it's obviously going to. And you're blocking a younger player coming through this summer with Milner. We need to rebuild our midfielders are old. They're not really all old, are they? Fab's not old. Okay, Thiago and Henderson and Milner are old, but Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Ox, Keita, Tyler Morton, they're all young. Well, Ox and Keita are in the prime of their lives. The other three are really young. So, yeah, there needs to be a turnover, but it doesn't need to be, wholesale. Henderson and Thiago have still got a few years left in them. Fabinho's no problem. So I don't think there needs to be. I get what you're saying. If Milner goes, then that frees up 130, 140 grand a week for another signing. Yeah. But I wouldn't expect massive amounts of signings in the summer anyway. We've just signed Diaz. We've got Elliott, and we've got other young players who could possibly come in. The squad is strong, very, very strong. They might look at a midfielder. If Milner goes, they might look at a midfielder, but don't be surprised if we don't buy a midfielder, because I wouldn't be. Okay. We own by FSG, so signing new contracts. Yeah, exactly what I've just said. Steve Jones, there's room at Anfield for Jimmy. I'm guessing you mean Jimmy Milner. The benefit of his influence on younger players should not be underestimated, and player and informal coaching is the way forward. Perfect. Yeah, definitely what we were saying, Steve. If you could keep him, I mean, the mad thing is, and I don't think as outsiders we understand this, but a player's salary is vastly different to a coach's salary. I mean, I wouldn't want to speculate, but let's say James Milner's on 130 grand a week, right? A coach might be on 130 grand a year. And that's the difference. So if you say to him, yeah, player coach, we want you in, we're gonna give you, I don't know how even you start that conversation. I mean, it's accepted that coaches' wage is a lot less, but I don't know how you start that conversation. Someone far more intelligent than me will be having that conversation, and saying to James Milner, yeah, we'll keep you on the roster, we'll keep you on the registration as a player, but you're not going to play that much unless something happens. We want you as a coach. As a result, your wage goes down to $500,000 a year from basically 400 grand a month. It's a lot to take in that. So I don't know, Steve, maybe you've got a comment on that, Steve. I don't know how you have that conversation with James Milner. Reece was recalled because he wasn't playing games. I don't think the loan was a bit of a disaster. But I've just read this morning about that, Dylan. And he was recalled because he wasn't playing games. But what happened was he actually got a I think he had some sort of groin injury. Wasn't a big injury, but it was enough to keep him out for a couple of games. In the meantime, the lads who played were playing really well. So they haven't brought him back in, and that's why he's not played. It's been a disaster from that point, but I don't think it's for the fact that he's played badly when he's played. I think he had a couple of sticky games early on, but when he has played, he's played fine. There hasn't been a problem with that. He hasn't been dropped because he's played poorly. He just got a knock. And the coach down there has been really pleased with him. In the article that I read, the loan manager or loan director from Liverpool went down to Swansea to have a chat with them, and he got a glowing report. He's trained really hard. He's always had a smile on his face, and they were really happy. But I'm guessing what they've looked at for the next few months of the season is he going to play? And perhaps the answer coming back was no. So it made sense, I suppose, to bring him back. So yeah, I mean, and again, if you look at the Joe Gomez thing, maybe there's a decision to be made there. Well, Reece has come in, he looks good. We can let Joe go. I don't know. That's stuff for the summer. But so yeah, thank you very much for taking part in this little chat. I've really enjoyed it, and it's great to have some people chatting about the match, which is what I really wanted, just to chat about footy, because chatting about footy is great, isn't it? Why wouldn't you want to chat about footy, especially around the big game? Listen, just before I go, don't forget, it depends what format, what platform you're watching us on. But if you're on Twitter, don't forget to follow us. If you're on Facebook, don't forget to follow us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It is so important, because that's how it allows us to do more content and get out to more people. So you hit the subscribe button for us on YouTube, hit the like button for this video, which would be great, so that YouTube knows that people like our stuff and it ranks us higher. And if you think on and you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, so that whenever we do a broadcast, when we do one of our podcasts, or when we do one of these sort of things, 'cause I'd like to do a few more of these, or if you know my little 60-second snippets, then you'll get told when they are, and you can come and watch us. But listen, thank you very, very much for interacting with us today. Really, really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll play well tonight, and we'll get a good result to bring back to Anfield. Up the Reds. Come on.